Give it a second. Hi there, and welcome to Applying the Number System Beginner Keys with Brandon Cowden. It is all yours. Thanks so much for coming.
Awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me for this class. This is, like I said, Applying the Number System for beginners. So I'm going to kind of go through this. If you see me kind of looking to the left, here are my notes. So if I'm looking over here, it's like I'm not doing weird things. We're just checking out my notes here. All right. So if you got a handout, I hope everybody got a handout of the number system. And I tell you what, if you did, you can just type down there, say, yeah, I got it, or whatever. If you didn't get one, I guess type down there where it says say something nice, or you can just say something nice. That's cool too. That'd be great, because I'm basically, it feels like I'm teaching to myself because I can't see you guys. But anyway, say something nice, and we'll jump into the number system. I'm going to kind of go over, do an overview of the number system. And if you're like a true beginner, won't you say I'm a true beginner? If this is too much, if I'm going too fast, type it in, ask questions. Yeah, hey, glad to be here. Good. All right. That's awesome. D'Angela James. All right. Awesome. Glad you're here as well. So, and at any point you can ask questions, and we'll kind of take some questions. I'll do a Q&A at the end. But if you have just something burning inside you there to ask, then go ahead and ask it, and we'll try to make time for that throughout the course here. All right. So the number system. So I'm sure you've heard of the number system, way that we communicate, to other musicians, like how to play a song. So you may have seen people, I've seen even worship leaders, give us like, hey, go to the 4, because they want us to go to the 4 or whatever. So we're going to be talking about what that means and how you can easily learn that for all the keys. Okay. So I want to start with kind of the theory behind it. And this is going to be on the handout that says, looks like this, has the number system on it. Okay, so if you got a handout, we'll kind of follow along. So the first part of the handout, it has just, we're going to be in the key of C, and we'll kind of stick to the key of C for this class, just to make it as simple as possible. All right, so I have, so in theory, the 1 is major, the 2 is minor, the 3 is minor, 4 is major, 5 is major, 6 is minor, the 7 is diminished, and the 1 is major. So basically what that means in the key of C, in the scale, so you count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 from C all the way up. So C would be major, then D would be minor, D minor, E minor, E minor, 4 F, F major, 5 G, A minor for 6, B diminished for the 7. So that would be like and then back to your 1. Okay. So that's the theory. Okay. And we'll kind of use that, but I'll kind of go through exactly what you'll need to play for each of these. So if you look down further, it says you must know all 12 major scales. And once you understand the number system, you can play in any key, which is true. And then it goes through some common progressions: 2-5-1, 7-3-6, and then a longer progression: 7-3-6, 2-5-1-4. Then I have an example, which, forgive me, is an older example of when I think about the Lord. Okay, so if you do this song now, then this is a great example for you. But we haven't done this song in some time; it's been a while. So, but it kind of goes through and lets you know what the numbers would be for that song. So I'm going to switch my view to the keyboard view, so you can see my keyboard, and I'm going to walk you through kind of the number system and what you're going to be playing. Okay, so give me just a second to switch my camera view, and we'll do that. All right, so now you should be able to see my keyboard here. Okay, so we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna be in the key of C. Okay, so here's C. So if you count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, here's the thing about the number system. The number system is all about the bass, okay? Your bass line, your left hand, if you're playing bass with your left hand, okay? The number system has nothing to do with your right hand necessarily, in the grand scheme of it, I would say. So we're going to get to what our right hand is going to be doing, but let's talk just about the left. So if you know the scale, your major scale in any key, then you know the number system. Okay, so let's say a song is if I said a song like, all right, I want to do this song and the progression is 1 5, or let's say 1 4 5 6. Okay, so if you know the scale, you have C, that's 1. So the next one would be 4. So you count up in the scale do re mi fa, which is 4. 1 2 3 4. Then the bass line will go to 4. Then the next one will be 5, and then the next one would be 6. Okay, so that's 6. 1 4 5 and 6. Those all correspond to the scale, right? 1 2 3 4 5 6. So that will be the progression. Let's say another progression will be, let's do a progression of 1 3 5 and 2. Okay, so if a song, you have to play the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 2. Your left hand is going to play C, which is the 1. And you're going to go scale up the scale 1 2 3 3. Okay, and then 5 3 4 5 5, and then 2 will be, because C is 1, then 2 would be D. So the progression would be 1 3 5 2. Okay, so that's what the left hand would all. So the left hand will always follow the number. Okay, whatever the number is. Okay, if let's say someone says go to the 5 and the bass player or someone playing piano goes to F, that would be incorrect, because F is not 5, it's 4. So 1 2 3 4, and then 5 would be G. Okay, so the more you do this, the more you're going to get familiar with the numbers of the scales. Okay, so I've been playing for over 20 years now, and so I'm been using this number system for years and years and years. So I'm very familiar with it. So the more you do it, the more you're going to get familiar with it. Okay, so the question for us is, like, for a bass player, this is easy. That's all they needed to know, was that the numbers they correspond to the number of the scale. So whatever the scale degree is, that's what that number corresponds to. If that makes sense to you, won't you type in and let me know? That's good. We're ready to move on. Or if you have questions on that you need me to expound upon, please let me know in the comments there and the questions, and we'll get to that. But if not, I'm going to kind of move on. So like I said, that's why your scales are super important. You have to know your scales in order to use the number system. Okay. And then the part 2 of that is that the bass line is what the number it represents. Okay. Not the right hand. So a lot of people get that confused. So piano players, think about bass line only, not right hand. If a song is 6 4 1 5, it means it's the sixth scale degree. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 4 1 2 3 4 1, and then 5. Okay, it has nothing to do with what you play in your right hand. Okay, that's what we're going to get to, and I'm going to show you what that's going to have, what you're going to use for that later in this lesson. Okay, so all about the left hand. So those are 2 things: know your scales and know that the number refers to the bass, the left hand, or your bass player. Okay, because sometimes piano players, we don't play the bass, we play like a rootless chord, so we leave the bass line open. So it's all about the bass line. Okay. All right, so for those, if you're a bass player and you didn't know the number system, now you know it. So learn your scales, okay? Now, the other question is, why would we use the number system? Okay, why do people say you got to use the number system? Okay, there are 2 really main reasons why we would use the number system. The first one would be communication. Okay, now everybody's been in that service, and give me a second, I'll switch my camera back so you can see my face here. All right, so we've all been in that service, right, where somebody's playing, and like, hey man, what are you playing? And they say D, but it looks like E, So we go to an E, and it's like, man, that's not right. What are you playing? And they're like, D, and you're playing E. So communication. If D is the 4, then you just put up the 4, and everybody knows immediately that we're going to the 4, not to D, not to E. Okay. This even is, I was in a situation where I was playing, we had in-ears in, and there was a talkback, but it was so loud when the MD, the music director, was saying go to E, I was going to a D because I couldn't hear the difference. Okay. So communication is like number 1. So with the band, with the whoever, the whole band, you can say, hey, let's go to the 4, let's go to the 4, and then if that's D, then we'll go to the 4, and that's it. So let's use the key of C though. So if we go to the 4, that's going to be F, right? Because F is the 4th scale degree in the C major scale. So 1 is C, 2, 3, 4, F. So like, hey, let's go to 4. So a lot of times if we're ending a song, we could end on the 1, which is a C. This is the 1. So let's say I want to end on a 4 though, so we get to the last part of the song and I'm on the 5. Like, hey, let's go to 4. And then we can all jump to the 4, which is going to be F. Okay, so that's the number one reason, or not the number one reason, but one of the reasons you would use the number system. Okay, the second reason, and this is the most important reason I would say, is to be able to play in every key. Okay, if you can play in every key, then you probably don't need to be taking this class. No, but if you can't play in every key and you find transposing songs is difficult, then this is the class for you. Okay, this is going to just unlock the keys for you. It did for me. Okay, and let me tell you why. Because the number system, like 6, let's say a progression, which is a very common, would be 6, 4, 1, 5. Okay, now 6 in C is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be A. 4 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. F. 1 is obviously 1, C, and 5 is G. Okay, now in a major scale, 6, 4, 1, 5 in the key of C is the same as 6, 4, 1, 5 in the key of A flat, or in the key of D, or in any key. 6, 4, 1, 5 is universal. It's a number, right? 6, 4, 1, 5 will work for any key out there. So in any key, you just go to the 6, the 4, 1, 5. Now it's a little bit more difficult to think about the letter name of, like, let's say we're in the key of C, right? We did 6, 4, 1, 5. Now that in C is A minor, F, C, G. Now say that in the key of A, right? How quick can you jump to that? You can't, right? You can't just automate. Oh, that's what is that? What is that? So it's very difficult. But if I said, hey, 6, 4, 1, 5, but let's do it in A. Well, in A, 6, 4, 1, 5 is still 6, 4, 1, 5. So that's the great part about the number system, is it's universal and you can use it in any key. It doesn't matter. So once you know your major scale, you can play this in any key. So those are the 2 reasons. 1, communication, and 2, to play in every key. And that's what we want to do as piano players. We want to be able to unlock our talent, unlock our gift, and play in any key out there. We want to play every song and be able to do it in whatever we need to do. And I've been in many situations where I've had to play, Jesus at the Center in the key of, C, and it's originally in the key of A. So transposing that in your head, not using numbers, it's kind of difficult. Okay. All right. So those are why we would use the number system. Like I said, if you have any questions, go on and ask them now throughout the lesson, and I'll kind of try to answer those. All right, now we're going to get into probably what you came in here for, right? Now we know that the number refers to the left hand, or the bass, okay? Now, what are we going to play in our right hand, okay? So listen, if you've got a pencil and paper, or pen and paper, or iPad, you're going to need to write this down, okay? This is going to be important, okay? So get ready to take some notes here, and I'm going to tell you what you're going to play in your right hand, probably for any contemporary Christian song that's out there, okay? I'm going to teach you about 1,000 songs in the next 10 minutes, okay? So get ready, write these notes down, because this is going to be important, okay? If you have your notepad, we're going to start in the key of C. So write the key of C, okay? And then I want you to write the scale out, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, just write that out. C, D, just right across this way. Okay, and then above those letters, I want you to write down the numbers. So I want you to write down on top of C 1 and number it to 8. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, write that down. Let me switch my camera, and then we're going to get into what you're going to play in your right hand. All right. All right. So now that you have that written down, all right. So this is the moment you've been waiting for. Now I'm going to tell you what you're going to be playing in your right hand. Okay. Now this is going to work, like I said, for almost every contemporary Christian song. So I have several songs written down here. I'm going to go through, and but like when I say contemporary Christian, CCM, No One Higher, Reckless Love, Revelation Song, Take Me There, Spirit Breakout, Break Every Chain, One Thing Remains. Some of those are kind of crossing the gospel side, but For the most part, those are contemporary Christian songs. Okay. So under where you wrote the scale, I would like you to write just in order from top will be 1, the number 1. Then beneath that, write 2. I'm sorry, not 2. Write 4, and then write 5 beneath that. So 1, 4, and 5. Okay. This is going to be in a column. I wish I had written this in the in your handout here, but I apologize. But you're going to write 1, 4, and 5. Okay. And this is going to be the same in every single key. Okay. 1, 4, and 5. Now, these are what I kind of call these, they are what they are, okay? And the reason I say that is because in the C scale, C1 is C. So that means your right hand, you're going to play a C2 chord, okay? Now, if you don't know what a 2 chord is, play a major triad, C, E, and G, right? Okay, if you want to add a 2, you just add the 2. So 1, 2, 3, and 5, okay? And in your left hand, play C, okay? So that's going to be 1. So anytime someone says go to the 1, you're going to go to C2. Okay, if you're in the key of C, obviously. If you're not in the key of C, then you don't want to go to a C2. But all right, key of C 1. Now I'm going to go to the 4. And guess what the 4 is? Remember, these are called, they are what they are, right? So the 4 is going to be F2. Okay. And guess what? The 5 is going to be, you guessed it, G2. Okay. So now we have 1, 4, and 5. All right. So now we can play, I don't know, there's a bunch of songs I guess you can do just 1, 4. Like Lord, lift your name on high, right? That's 1, 4, 5, 4, 5, 1. Okay. So 1, 4, and 5. They are what they are. So as soon as you get to them, that's what you're going to play. Now let's take the 1, 4, just the 1, 4, and 5. Let's take it to another key. Let's take it to the key of F. Okay. So F scale is, okay. So F is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1 is F, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, B flat, 5 is C. So if someone says, hey, in F, I want you to play 1, 4, and 5. Guess what? The 1 is going to be F. Okay. The 4 is going to be B flat 2, and 5 is going to be C2. Okay. All right. So we got F, okay, B flat 2, and C2. It's in the key of F. That's going to be 1, 4, and 5. Okay. So the same principle works in every key. So if you know your scale, then you know the 1, 4, and 5 of every single key. Okay. All right. So now in the next column, so you have 1, 4, and 5 written. Next to it in another column, you're going to write the 2 and the 6. Okay. The 2 and the 6. All right. So the 2 and the 6, these are what I call your minor chords. Okay. Why do I call them your minor chords? Because you're going to play a minor chord on the 2 and on the 6. Okay. And so for in the key of C, the 2 is 1, 2, right? We know D is going to be in our left hand. So our right hand would be D minor, right? But we're going to play a D minor 7. Okay, if you don't know what a D minor 7 is, I'm going to give you an easy way to do it. And I'll explain it to you, but just the easiest way is play a D minor triad in your right hand, D, F, A. Then you're going to take your thumb down a whole step, okay? So you take it down, if you take it down a half step is D flat, and then a whole step is C. So this is going to be D minor 7. Okay, so you're going to play C, F, and A. Okay, that's D minor 7. Okay, also if you look at it, it's just F, A, C, right? F, A, C. It's just an F chord over D, right? It's another way to think of it. But if you're doing it, try to find a minor 7, play the minor triad, and take your thumb down a whole step. Okay, now you have D minor 7. Okay, and that's your 2. Now let's do 6. So if we count up from C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's A minor, right? A minor. Now we're going to play A minor 7, right? So take that thumb, drop it down a whole step. Now you have A minor 7. So we're going to D minor, and then we're going to go down to A minor 7. Okay, so that's 2, and that's 6. Okay, and when you're working with the number system, take one key at a time. Start with C and just write down a bunch of progressions. Write down, you put like 6, 4, 2, 5, 1, and just kind of like write them down so you can go 6, 4, 2, 5, 1. Okay. So now we have the minor chords. Okay. That's going to be your D minor, okay, which is your 2, and your A minor, which is your 6. Okay. So that's in your second column. Okay. So your first column has 1, 4, and 5. They are what they are, right? So 1 is C, 4 is F, 5 is G. You play a C2, a F2, and a G2. Okay. Your 2 and 6 are minor. So 2, D minor 7, 6, A minor 7. All right. Now we get into the last 2, which is your 3 and your 7. Okay. So remember, in the theory, 3 is minor. Okay. So this chord is going to be both. It can be both minor, right? We can play just an E minor. Okay. We can play E minor 7. Okay. But for most of the time in contemporary music, and it's kind of changing just a little bit. I've seen more minors played on the 3rd more recently, but most of the time on the 3rd, these are what I kind of call these like your oddball chords. You're going to play the 1 chord over the 3 chord. Okay, so your 1 chord is C2, right? Because we play the 1 chord at C2. So you're going to play that right hand at 1 chord, and then you're just going to change your left hand to the 3. Okay, so that's going to be C2 over E. So that's what you're going to play on your 3. So you got 2 options for 3, right? You have an E minor chord, or you have a 1 over 3. Okay, and 1 over 3 is super, super common in contemporary music. Even in some gospel stuff, you'll see a 1 over 3. Okay, so that's your 3, and the last one is 7. So your 7 is B, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And for this chord, you're going to play the 5 chord over the 7. So 5 is G, G2 over B. Okay, that's going to be over your 7. So if you've written all that down, okay, then you're going to know all of your whole number system for the key of C. Okay, so you have the 1 chord, the 2 chord, D minor 7. Okay, the 3 chord, C2 over E. The 4 chord is going to be F2. The 5 chord, G2. The 6 chord, A minor 7. The 7 chord is G2 over B. And then back to the 1 chord is C2. Okay, listen, if you guys have questions on anything that I just went over, before we move on, I want you to go ahead and ask it now. Just type it in there, and I'll try to answer those. If not, I'll kind of move on. And now I'm just going to get into some examples of songs and how you just. Yeah, we have a question?
Yeah. Okay. So Emily says, I have always had trouble with diminished and suspended chords. Any tips?
Yes. Great. Diminished chords. Let me get into those in just a minute. But suspended chords. Suspended chords are great. And I'll tell you where to use a suspended, typically on the 5 chord. So, we play G2 on the 5. So if you play just a regular G chord, okay, let's say G, B, D, right? If you want to suspend a chord, all you do is, instead of playing the 3, is you play the 4. And then we call it suspended because it's kind of suspended out there, right? And then it usually always needs a resolve. And to resolve it, you bring the 3 or the 4 back down to the 3. So it's like, and that resolves it, okay? So suspended, again, instead of playing, sometimes I also keep the 3rd in. Like in the song Oceans, they do that. They keep that 3rd in, but most of the time it's like just the 3 or the 4 by itself. So 1, 4, 5, and then you resolve it to 1, 3, 5. Yeah. So like in Oceans, they do. And then they play that chord right there. So they add the on Wherever You Would Call Me. So that's an option, but that's a suspended chord, is playing 1, 4, 5, and then resolving it back to 1, 3, 5. That's a suspended. Now, diminished chord, that's a little more in-depth chord, and what it does is, like a diminished chord, let's say just a C diminished, for instance. C diminished, you take the third and the fifth and you drop them a half step. Okay, that's the diminished chord. But we in music and well, not in music particularly, but in church music, in gospel and contemporary music, we never just play a diminished chord like that. We always add a fully diminished seventh chord. That's adding the six. So it's 1 flat 3, flat 5, and then add the 6. Okay. And in theory, you'll hear people say it's a double flat at 7, which is true, but it's also a 6. So I just like to try to think of the easiest way possible. Now, the cool thing about diminished chords is there's only 3 of them because, and this is probably a little too much in depth for this lesson, but I'll just let you know real quick. So every note in a diminished chord can be the name of that chord. So like this is C diminished, but if I change the bass to E flat, I have E flat in the chord. That's an E flat diminished. Also can be a G flat diminished and also an A diminished. So it all depends on what you have in your left hand. So that's why there's only 3 of them, because for every 1 diminished chord, there's 4 of them. That's probably like a later lesson. I hope that kind of answers your question. All right. So
sorry,
yes.
before you move on, one more question. When you say C2, it's just adding the 2 to the chord. Is it just adding the 2 to the chord? Just want to make sure that I understand correctly.
Yes, a C2 is just adding 2 to the triad. Because every chord, you know, your basic chord is your major triad, right? C, E, and G. So that's 1, 3, and 5. So that's always understood, that you always play 1, 3, and 5. Now, if you add a number like say C7 or C2 or C9, then you're adding 2, 1, 3, and 5. So if it's a 2, then you just add the 2 to the 1, 3, and 5. So now I have 4 notes that I'm playing. Okay, so that's your C2 chord. You always want to play 2 chords. They just make it a little warmer. Okay, from this sound to this sound, it's a lot different. Okay, that one note creates warmth and doesn't make it sound so kind of like elementary, you know, like, you know, but this is very warm sounding. Okay, good questions. Keep them coming. All right, so let's get into some examples of the number system. Okay, so a very common progression is 6, 4, 1, 5. Okay, and so we know from what we just learned that the 6 is A minor. Okay, and we're going to play A minor 7. Then we're going to play the 4 is going to be F2. And then the 1 is going to be C2. And then the 5 is going to be G2. And then we can do a suspended and then resolve it back to the regular. Okay, so we did that suspended, you know, just raising that third to the 4 and then drop it back down. And then you can also just add the 2 back in when you resolve it. Okay, so let's talk about what song this would go in. All right, so we all know the song Break Every Chain, right? Okay, so let's Break Every Chain. I'm playing the melody, so without the melody, just the chords. Okay, so that's Break Every Chain, right? So same thing for the verse. Okay, so that's like that song. Okay, the same thing for One Thing Remains. end of it goes 4, 6, 5. Now I'm adding melody. I'm playing the same chord. Okay, I'm playing A minor 7. I'm just adding the melody on top. Okay, and as you progress, you can start doing that. But I would just start with just the chords. Never fails, never gives up. Right? Love never fails. 4, 1, 5. Okay, so a quick tip for beginners is when you like what I'm doing, my right hand kind of pulsing, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, don't do that with your left. Okay, and don't do the back and forth thing. Okay, so I see a lot of new piano players go like. And what happens is you create this rhythm that you would play in every single song. Okay, you want to try to get away from that because that rhythm, it doesn't go in those songs particularly. You know what I mean? It might work for some songs, but I see people kind of lock themselves into that. So what I do is I lock my left hand down and pulse with my right. Because as you progress, you want to be able to play things with melody and really lock into the rhythm of the song, not so much a rhythm you just kind of locked into. Okay, so beware of that. Okay, so that's another song. So the song "Take Me There" is also 6-4-1-5. So see, feels like ever touches earth and I'm caught in between. Now I'm not a singer, y'all, so feels like glory of the Lord to fall on me. So that chorus, I want to know what it feels like. Heaven touches earth and I'm caught in between. Okay, so I played 3 songs just there with the same progression, 6-4-1-5. Okay, now other parts of the song have other progressions, but you get the drift here. You know, like it's so universal. You know that's a super common progression. What's great about it is if you memorize the common progressions, as you try to learn new songs and you listen for those, you can start hearing those progressions. You'll listen to a song and say, "Oh, that's 6-4-1-5. That's the same as Break Every Chain or whatever song it is." Okay. So let's do another progression. Let's do Spirit Breakout. Spirit Breakout starts on the 4. This one's in the key of G. But let me play it in G, and then I'm gonna play it in C for you because I'm gonna show you how easy it is to transpose. So in G, the 4 is C. Okay. The 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, E minor, and then the 5 is D. Okay. So and it did 3, 4 right there. So 3, 4. Okay. So that's the progression. So 4, 6, 5. Now let's do that in the key of C, like we've been working. So 4 would be F, right? And then 6. Okay, so we're playing the same song, and then this one has a 3 in it. So remember, 3 is C2 over E, and then back to 4. Right, and then C2 over E. Okay. Okay, so again, 4, 6, 5, right? Same progression, simple progression. Let's do Revelation song. Now this song, it starts in, I believe it's in the key of G again. So it starts on the 5. Yeah. Now some people say this is the key of D, so I'm not going to argue with you if you say it's D. I look at it as the key of G. Makes a little more sense to me that way. So start on the 5. We're looking at it in G, and then it goes to the so 5, and then it's going to go down to the 2, 4, and then to the 1. Oh, sorry. 1, sorry. So you get the idea. So 1, 2, which is the minor, right? 2 minor. So let's do this in the key of C. So we're gonna start with the 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, G. So we'll start on the 5, 2. And then we'll go to the 2, which is going to be D minor 7. 4. And C. And then back to the 5. 5 to, what did I say? 2. Yeah. Right, so we're back to there. Okay, and let's do a kind of a newer song, "Reckless Love." So. So this one, you can play it in the key of C. It's in G flat, I think. For if you're gonna do a lead for a guy tenor voice, the G flat would be the key. But for a soprano, you're probably looking at a in the key of C. So for this one, it starts on the 6. Never-ending, reckless love of God. Okay, and then oh, it chases me down, still I'm found, leaves the 99. Okay, so right there. So 6, 5, 4, 1, and then we went to the 7 to the 6. Okay, so that's that whole song. So. Down, fight still, I'm found, leaves the 99. I could earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. So you can see by knowing the number system, you can play tons and tons of different songs. Okay. So please, if you have questions, go ahead and ask them right now, because we're getting close to our end time. So feel free to ask anything. I hope this has helped you guys understand. If it has, let me know.
Okay, question. All of my music is labeled with chords. Is it hard to find music with the numbers on it?
I don't know if it's hard to find music with. I mean, probably. I don't think that most places won't sell you a number chart. Now, I know in Planning Center, they will write out the chart in numbers as well as in letters. But it's just more mental. You just need to lock in what that is in numbers. If you see a letter, think about like what the number is that corresponds to that. That's a good practice for learning the number system. But as far as buying charts like that, they're out there. I've seen them, but I don't know where you buy them from. Any other questions? Did this help anyone? Let me know in the comments over there that say something nice. Say something nice. All right. Yes, we have a comment. Thank you. It's absolutely taking me out of my rut. And I'm so excited to keep going. Thank you, Emily, for being on this. I appreciate it. Appreciate you coming out and taking this class. So thankful that this is going to help you, and keep it going. Just don't stop. So this, I actually learned the number system kind of late in my career playing. I guess I was in college before I learned it, and I had been playing my whole life. So I learned letters, and transposing was so difficult, but this helped me. So I hope it did. I'm glad it's helping you. So anybody else, questions, comments, let me know in the comment section if this is helping you. Hopefully so. And did everybody understand everything about the number system? Thanks, very helpful. What resources would you suggest to continue learning? Um, Definitely like stuff like this, getting, on, there's a lot of different, workshops you can get to, but YouTube's kind of tricky because it can be kind of weird. But I would say there's a Pretty Simple Music is really good on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel that you can follow and learn. I do tutorials and stuff like that on there. So just trying to find that, you can kind of scour YouTube and try to find that, and just always try to play with people that are better than you. That's always going to make you better. Looks like we got some more comments. Thank you very much. Oh, there's you did an awesome job. You gave several tips that I plan on using in my playing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Linda, for joining us. And I'm glad that's going to help you. PraiseCharts.com allows you to download charts with numbers. Okay, good. PraiseCharts.com is a resource you can use, and that allows you to download charts with numbers. Any other questions? I would also encourage you guys as piano players. I know like charts are great, but I would encourage you to memorize your music and not use charts as much as you can. I used to use charts for everything, and I had a binder. This is before iPads came out. So yeah, we didn't have iPads and smartphones and stuff like that. We didn't have any of that stuff. So I had binders of music. And one day I left my binder at home, and I got to church and they were like, "Hey, can you play the song?" And I was like, "No, I don't have my binder." And I was like really convicted after that. So I would definitely recommend memorizing your songs as much as you can. Try not to rely so heavily on charts. Even if you have it in front of you, like try not to look at it. Memorize the song, and that way you can really connect. Because the idea, the Bible says to praise Him on your instrument, right? Praise Him with the timbrel and dance, cymbals, organs, stringed instruments. So to praise God, we have to have a connection to God when we're doing, what we do every Sunday, when we're playing. So try not to rely on that, because sometimes if you're stuck on that, you can't focus on what's happening in the service this way or to the congregation. So I would definitely encourage you guys for that. A lot of people tend to underestimate using their ear when learning. It takes a while to get used to it, but once you get it, you got it. I've been playing piano for my worship band for 5 years, and now I'm at the point where I need to know is what the key, and it takes me a few seconds to get the chord progression. Yes, that's very good. I would recommend definitely using your ear, and the number system will help you do that. The number system helped me pick out songs, because you're not looking for just a needle in a haystack. Now, when you try to find a learner song, especially a contemporary song, use the 7 chords that I gave you, and process of elimination. If it's not the 1, then try the 2. If it's not the 2, try the 3, try the 4. Okay, until your ear starts picking that up. And eventually what you'll do, and a lot of my students have been able to do, is just listen to a song and tell me, hey, that progression is 4, 6, 1, 5. Boom, and they have the song, and then they just need to know what key it's in. But yeah, I would definitely recommend ear training. That's always important. Any other comments, questions? Got a few minutes left here, so lay them on me. Even if you have a comment or testimonial, whatever you want to say, like, I'd love to hear from you guys. Since I can't see you, I would like to hear from you. read what you're saying anyway. Anything? Anybody?
Well, I don't see anything new at this point, so I think we will let you go. If you guys want to follow Brandon, Cowden is teaching the next session, which is going to be intermediate keys. So you can find that in the top left-hand corner of your screen, scheduled down to his next class. Otherwise, you guys all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys.